This is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerialist podcast. Say hi, Bean.
Hi.
Hi, listeners. Hi, listeners.
Toys.
Yeah, she's playing with her toys. Hey, guys, thanks so much for being with me today. I hope you guys are doing well out there, just sending love out on the airwaves. I know not everyone in the world right now is at home happy. So thank you for being with me. Today we have Katie Soul. She's actually a student of mine. She's a TV producer here in LA. Been taking aerial class for a really long time and went through quite a journey having her daughter Elle and now coming back to her practice. Let's get started. Let's get started. See it?
To check when to do.
Check. Oh, I love it. Okay, so for my listeners, this is Katie Soul. As she said, she's a TV producer. She's been a aerialist. She's been an aerialist as long as I have, I think.
Yeah, it's been a really long time. I think I took, when Hollywood Aerial Arts down in Inglewood was one of the only schools. It was basically them. And then I think Cirque School opened a few years later. Yeah, I started taking down there and it was really intimidating because they were all amazing. I was in class with Sarah and Meredith and I'd never even touched a fabric. So I was like, whoop, okay.
Yeah. And so Katie at some point started taking class from me and now she currently still takes class from me. So Katie's been through a really interesting, wonderful ride when it comes to having her daughter Elle and her body and her aerial practice, all of it together, because also as a TV producer, when she's put on a project, it's really intense. It's 0 to 100 and then you have not a toddler anymore, right?
She's 3, so she's still a toddler, but she's kind of, I call her a three-nager because she's 1 minute she's a toddler and the next minute I'm like, are you kidding me? You're a teenager. It's crazy. This morning she said to me, Mommy, you just ruined my whole life because I wanted to put her in the car seat. I'm like, really?
Oh my God.
Years?
I don't think I've ever uttered those words to my mom.
No one says it in this house. I'm like, where are you hearing that? And then we realized it was from Encanto. She loves that movie. And there's a line in there. And my husband and I heard it the other day and we just looked at each other and we were like, oh, that's where she got it from.
That's right, because my bean is obsessed with that movie and the music, and the sister says that to the other sister.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
our bean got, I give up from somewhere.
Oh, really?
And we were like, what?
I know.
But then, of course, on Sesame Street, it's, I give up. And then Elma's like, why, Cookie Monster? It's it continues, the story continues. But if you just take that one little thing out of context.
Yeah. I know. To hear it come out of a toddler's mouth, because it's the context is it's there, but it's not there. It's kind of in isolation almost. And
yes, I know.
It's so darn cute as well. It's hard to be I'm like, what? Anyway, but back to what we were talking about.
Yeah. Okay, so Katie's still dealing with some postpartum stuff. So I would love to start at the beginning.
Yes.
If you could tell me what your practice felt like to you before you had a baby, your process of being pregnant, having her, and then I want to hear everything.
So, like I said earlier, I've been doing aerial for a really, really long time. And, I was kind of put into this situation where I was training with people who were a lot better at it than me. And also it was their career. If they weren't aerialists, they were dancers or a hybrid of aerial dancer kind of thing. So, it took me a really long time to build the muscle in the first place. And I think that, I did kind of fall into the trap of, muscling into things, probably a little bit too soon. Just, your kind of ego takes over. You want to be able to do the stuff, so you just kind of force it in. And I had always had like a little niggly thing with my like left hip, but it wasn't like the back of the hip, which is where the problem is postpartum. It was more in my hip flexor in the front. Like it would just, after I trained, I would feel it. Do you know what I mean? But not enough to ever like slow me down. And eventually, you know, the muscle just got stronger and I got stronger. And there was a point there before I got pregnant, probably like 2 years before I got pregnant, where I was training 5 days a week. I was teaching on a Saturday at my friend Kim's studio. I was doing little performances for fun. Like there was a thing back in the day called Booby Trap here in LA. And I would, do that periodically. And I felt really good about my practice. For someone that was like not also working a full-time job, I was able to like kind of hang with the big kids for want of a better way of putting it. And it felt good. I felt strong. I felt, all the things. And, really like there wasn't anything that was thrown at me in class that after a few kind of attempts, I could get it. Do you know what I mean? And you remember back in the day, Kerry, when we had that very special class that you were running and we were like jamming out like 4-minute routines,
Oh, yeah.
over.
You guys were doing hard stuff.
Yeah, over and over and over again. And like, I was super into it and I felt really, really great about it. And then it came to, wanting to have a baby and all of that stuff. And I had in my head this idea that, I was going to train as much as possible during my pregnancy. I wanted to stay active. I wanted to be able to maintain a certain level of fitness. And that was always like my goal. And I didn't really think that I wouldn't be able to do that. Do you know what I mean? So I ended up getting pregnant and then I had a miscarriage, and that kind of shook my world a little bit because I had never experienced like emotional loss like that before. Like I really wanted to get pregnant. I was kind of getting older. I was, had already turned 40 when I was trying. And I was surprised that it actually didn't take me that long. It took 3 months of trying and we got pregnant. And then 9 weeks in, I went for a checkup. There was no heartbeat and I was devastated, absolutely devastated. And, of course it goes through your mind, oh, I left it too long. I'm too old. Like this is not going to happen for me. And it was just like an awful time. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And, so anyway, kind of pick yourself up from that and started trying again. And 3 months on the dot, I get pregnant again. And I remember like being like, okay, all right, I just got to get through this first trimester. And I honestly, like, I was so scared to miscarriage that I was like, okay, I'm going to take it super chill. I need to like not push any boundaries. I just got to get through the first trimester, and so that's what I did. So I kind of put, any kind of fitness stuff on hold, aside from like walking. My partner and I would like, go on like little hikes here and there. So it was like staying active in that way. But as far as like the aerial stuff was concerned, I just didn't want to push it. So, I managed to get through the first trimester and all the stuff that goes along with that. I didn't have horrible morning sickness, but I wasn't throwing up, but I was definitely nauseous a lot. And I had at the time an hour commute each way to work, and sitting in traffic was what made me feel the most nauseous. So I would like literally be on the 405 freeway in rush hour with a plastic bag on my lap, in case I need, because I felt so nauseous. And just like, I remember having like, I had to have like a little orange with me because the smell of the citrus like helped with that. So anyway, got through all of that, went in.
So by the way, for our audience that doesn't know LA, the 405 is the worst freeway that you'll ever try to get through rush hour traffic in your life.
Oh,
it's the worst.
It's the worst. And my office was right down by LAX, and I lived in the Valley, which is like pretty.
I mean, it's a long way. And like, how many lanes is it across?
I think it is like four, five, maybe in places.
No, I think it's more like 6.
Wow.
I think so.
It's crazy.
I think so.
I just remember
it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's bumper to bumper in rush hour. Like
So just to give you a, I mean, it can take 2 hours to get to work every day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it sucks. It really sucks. And when you're pregnant and car sickness is like what's triggering your morning sickness, it's fun. Not fun.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to give some context to that.
Yeah. So anyway, I get through the first trimester, and I'm just like, everything is great. Do you know what I mean? Like, the baby's heartbeat is strong. Like, she's measuring fine. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I made it to 12 weeks. And we had like, I forget, there's like, a couple of big tests that happen around that time as well as you come into the second trimester, and everything was looking good. Because of course, like when you're like older, being pregnant, they have that lovely term, geriatric pregnancy. So you're like, oh my gosh, there's going to be something wrong with my baby. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you have all that extra worry. So anyway, I was super relieved that like everything was looking good across the board. My morning sickness was subsiding, and I was really kind of looking forward to the second trimester because I'd heard that like it's like when you really start to flourish in your pregnancy, and it's like you have this energy and this glow, and I was like, maybe I can start doing like prenatal yoga, and I can just start to like really enjoy this pregnancy, because I desperately wanted to enjoy the pregnancy. Do you know what I mean? I was so happy to be pregnant. And then I think like, I don't know what week it was, but I think it was like maybe, I want to say like 2-3 weeks into my second trimester, I started to hemorrhage blood. And I don't want to be too graphic because it's kind of gross. But when I say hemorrhaging blood, I was losing like fistfuls of blood clots hourly.
I mean, that is so terrifying.
It was terrifying. I remember one night it was like late, and I said to my husband, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can't move out of the bathroom without just these like blood coming. I was like convinced I was having a miscarriage, and I phoned the doctor on call, and she was like, well, the rule of thumb is that, you have like a 10-hour pad in, and if you're soaking that, more than like 2 hours or whatever the rule was. And I'm like, I am soaking it every 20 minutes. She's like, okay, you need to go to the ER. So we ended up going to Cedars to the ER, and I was just, like mentally preparing myself for the worst. And it was just like such an awful experience as well, because we got there, fortunately it was pre-COVID, so I didn't have to deal with any of that nonsense. But, we pulled up at the ER. My husband dropped me off. He had to go park the car. So I'm like, we already had like maybe a 30-minute drive to get to the hospital. So I'm already like soaking through the pad that I'm wearing. So I have to like maneuver myself into a packed ER and then like try and get checked in. And I can just feel, I mean, it's just like, I can just feel these like clots coming out of me and like trying to like get to the bathroom. Oh, it was just a horror show. I mean, the bathroom, I like, I'm not kidding you. It looked like someone had been slaughtered in there. I felt so bad.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm trying to like change myself, you know, but I'm just hemorrhaging so much blood. And I was like, I'm trying to clean it up. Oh, it was just like the worst. And I remember coming out of the bathroom and it kind of just like opened up into this like crazy busy waiting room. And the janitor guy was there and I was just mortified. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, there's a lot of blood. I didn't know what to do with myself. And then fortunately by that point, my husband had parked the car and he was like in the waiting room and was able to like just kind of get the nurses to get me somewhere a little bit more private. So that was like that. And then of course, we're in the waiting room, like in the private room, like waiting for the ultrasound woman to come and just, thinking the worst of everything. But everything was fine. Like the baby was still beating strong, heartbeat was strong. Everything looked fine. I had what did they call it? A hematoma, but I also had a placenta previa. So the combination of the two things was what was causing these blood clots to happen.
So Katie, let me stop you because I had previa too. Was that already established before all of this that you had a previa?
It was established that I had a low-lying placenta, but I hadn't heard the term placenta previa.
Okay.
At that point, so I hadn't really thought of anything. It was only when I started getting this like side problem with the hematoma that I started to hear the two things in conjunction with one another.
Okay, sorry. Can you define hematoma for me? Because I actually don't know what that means.
It's a blood clot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's like these blood clots were like forming, and then they would just fall out of me. Form and then fall out of me. But the problem with them is they can really weaken, like the cervix and all of that stuff that's kind of keeping baby locked in there.
Yeah,
so they are in some ways a precursor to a potential miscarriage. I think that's how Chrissy Teigen recently, her last miscarriage, that she had the same thing and wasn't as lucky as me.
Okay, so because when I had previa, of course, the doctor would say, if you have any blood, that's this difference. Like she's like, if you see a drop of blood, you're coming in.
Right.
So the fact that you were like bleeding.
Yeah, I was bleeding. It was terrifying. So
it just surprises me that some doctors and nurses have a line of like, okay, it's okay until.
Right.
Yeah. But doctors are different.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. So after that.
So how long did the bleeding continue?
Oh, it continued for like 9 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I was on.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know it lasted that long.
Yeah, my second trimester was a shit show. Like I had gone into it with these like high, I just was like so excited and happy. And then I felt like I just had all of my joy ripped from me because I had this bleeding. It was terrifying. I was put on like a modified bed rest. So that basically meant that I was able to like get up out of bed, go to the couch, go to the bathroom, make a cup of tea. I could walk to a car, get in a car, be driven somewhere, walk to a table, but that was it. Do you know what I mean? Like I wasn't allowed to drive my own car anywhere. Very, 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 very sedentary. So pretty much couch potato at that point. Whilst also trying to juggle a really intense show that I was working on from home when my entire team were in the office, you know, so that was a stressor. And then just living in fear. I mean, like, living in total fear that like any day I was going to, because I was going to the doctors like every 3 days at that point, that they were going to give me like horrific news. Yeah.
Right. So you're just on the edge of your seat with anxiety.
Yeah.
And then I would assume it's really easy to start blaming yourself for like any movement that you do.
Oh, I was so paranoid. I was just so paranoid about everything. Like, is this too much? Can I do this? What is this, you know, what's going to happen if I do this, you know, and you become like, you know, your own worst enemy because you're constantly on Google, like looking up, like I would analyze, like, you know, I don't know how your OB worked, but like mine, I would go in, you know, she would do all the tests and then she would like kind of upload a report to the patient portal. So I would like go in, you know, I would look at everything, especially like because I had a specialist as well, like a fetal maternal medicine specialist, or I forget what, MFM, something like that. They're for like high risk pregnancies.
Yeah, perinatal.
Yeah. So she was amazing. I loved my my geriatric high risk pregnancy doctor. But I would like literally go and study the breakdown that I would get after each appointment. And then I would be on like Google, and I joined all these Facebook groups for women that were having like similar issues. And like, I just went down the rabbit hole. Do you know what I mean? But in some ways, like, it gave me some comfort, you know, reading like other people's stories of where things had gone fine. But then, you know, every so often you read ones where it didn't. And it was like a whole just spiral of like emotion. So anyway, you know, we had to cancel our baby moon, like the whole shebang. Anyway, I remember going about kind of 8 weeks into this, and I'd been keeping a diary of it because I wanted to be able to communicate at my appointments, like, today it was really bad, or 3 days ago it was only this much, you know, and I was like trying to record like how many pads I was getting, you know, volume of blood and all of that kind of stuff. You know, my doctors had been saying, well, you know, you have like a complete previa at this point. They're like, but you got it, you know, it happened pretty early in the pregnancy. So chances are as you get bigger and bigger, it might move. Anyway, I'd been to like a few appointments and nothing was really moving. And then I remember going in, like the bleeding finally stopped, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is, please let this be it. And I went in to see my specialist doctor, and she was on vacation. So there was this other guy there that was doing the exams. And I was kind of so used to going to the doctor at that point. I was like, oh yeah, hey, so I have this like placenta previa. I've been bleeding on and off, but actually I haven't bled for a week. So this is, you know, this step in the right direction. I kind of felt like a new woman. So he was like, all right, well, let's take a look. And he was like, that's weird. He's like, you don't have a previa. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you have a very, very low-lying placenta. He's like, but it's cleared. Like, there's no previa there anymore. And I was like, I wanted to like make out with this guy. I wanted to, I was like,
You're so happy.
"Hey, this is amazing." I like was so happy because I was like, finally, I had like something that made sense. The bleeding stopped a week ago. I no longer have a previa. Problem solved. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Wait, okay, go back because I feel like they called mine previa, but it wasn't even partially covering the cervix. So was it not? Was it just a low-lying placenta if it's not covering at all?
it depends how close it is. I think it's like, I don't want to misquote, but I think it's like within an inch of the opening.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I did have a previa. It was like, whenever they measure me, they're like, it moved a millimeter. I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's not anything.
Yeah, mine had moved. It was amazing. And I think probably what had happened is it had been slowly moving. So it had gone from like a full to a partial and then had just been gradually moving. And then when I went to see this doctor, it had passed the threshold for no longer being a C-section type situation previa, you know?
Right. Okay.
But I didn't care. All I cared was that finally there was something going in the right direction with this pregnancy. I was like, it was truly a magical moment.
I love it. Katie, when you were bleeding for those 9 months, besides
9
the
weeks,
anxiety.
not my.
Sorry. That would be way
Yeah.
worse. 9 weeks. What did you feel like? Did you feel really weak?
Well, they had me on iron supplements, which actually were awful. They made me want to vomit. Did I feel weak? I don't know. I think I felt numb. That's what I felt because I feel like I was so burnt out emotionally from the worry that I couldn't really like focus on how my body felt. Does that make sense?
Okay. It does. It does. Mental and emotional pain and stress to me always overrides physical.
Yeah.
So I understand that.
Yeah, it was it was a pretty bleak time. I felt, I felt depressed and sad and anxious. I'm sure my cortisol was through the roof.
And you're stuck in bed all day.
I'm stuck on the sofa. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think even for a person who doesn't have all that stuff going on, it's like you don't get the sunshine, you don't get the exercise.
Yeah, and I'm a person.
So difficult.
I had come from this like incredibly active lifestyle, and movement is everything to me. It's like it regulates my mood, it regulates my emotions, it just all of that went away. I was able, like, once the bleeding had like stopped consistently for a few weeks, I was able to start taking some prenatal yoga, which was really nice. And that was like, I would say like the third trimester was my best trimester for sure, because
Yeah, you were even taking Pilates from me at the time.
yeah, I was able to I was actually able to start like enjoying my pregnancy. I remember like counting down the weeks. I was like, if I can just get to like, what is it, like 27 weeks? There's some number where it's like, if the baby's born, there's a chance it would survive.
Right, outside of your body.
Outside of your body. And I remember getting to that point, and it was like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. I was like, okay, I think we've got this. But then, having said that, in my third trimester, I had a whole other slew of issues come up. I had low-amniotic fluid, so I was going in every other day for them to monitor that. And I think there was like something else going on. I can't remember.
Oh my goodness, it's so much. It's already so much, even without something else. It's so much,
and also the thing that freaked me out a lot was that my placenta was in the front, so I could barely feel my baby kicking.
Oh my God.
So I ended up buying myself one of those like Doppler machines so that I could like try and
check the heartbeat all the time.
Yeah, so I could check the heartbeat all the time. And you're not supposed to do that because it's hard to like know what you're finding, because the amniotic fluid creates like a whoosh, whoosh, like a similar sound. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know, it gave me some comfort. And I would eat my baby in utero. Elle loved like cold green grapes. So anytime I was like, I haven't felt her kick, I would just house a bunch of like really cold green grapes and she would start to kick.
Oh my God. So you actually probably didn't mind going in so often because then at least she would get
I get to see her.
Confirmation that, you get to see.
I got to see her. So I felt very, very looked after by my team, my OB team. But yeah, I mean, it was like kind of a pain in the butt going to, the office wasn't super close to where I lived. So, there was that. But I did kind of, I remember like at one point they were like, oh yeah, you don't need to come in so often. And I was like, what? What do you mean? I want to come in every other day. It was like, I felt like lost kind of without that security blanket.
And for those who don't know LA, so Cedars-Sinai is one of the best hospitals in the world, actually. I mean, it's just very well known. I've been treated there many times. I had all my PT for my ankle and my leg there. But going from the valley where we live to there, it'll take you 4 hours to get there and back, even if the appointment's 15 minutes.
Yeah. It was,
it's a lot. This city we love the city, but man, does it have its things.
Yeah, I would try and schedule appointments in the middle of the day because I could do it in like 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back. But if I tried to do it in rush hour, forget about it.
This is a great ad for us.
I know.
So tell us about the birth process and then continue, please.
So, so I'm kind of like chugging through my third trimester and, compared to what I had been through, everything was, great. Finally finished my job, which I was super happy about and, was just able to kind of just relax and like get my head around the fact that we were having this baby finally. But I did have the issue with the low amniotic fluid. So I was being checked for that regularly. Anyway, I've been drinking. I remember I used to walk around with this like huge like bottle of water, like huge jug of water. And I would drink like 4 of them a day because I was like just trying to replenish my body and, keep my water up. And it had been working. Like the fluid was kind of, it wasn't great, but it was okay. So at around 38 weeks, I go for an appointment. Everything looks fine. She's like, all right, come back in 3 days and we'll kind of see where you're at. And I was like, okay, cool. And my mom doesn't live in this country. She was due to be flying in the day of my appointment. And I was going to go from Beverly Hills, which is where my OB is, down to the airport to pick her up. So anyway, we go to the appointment. Didn't think anything of it. I felt fine. Everything was good. They hooked me up to the machine, did my ultrasound, and my OB is like, you need to go straight to Cedars. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, your fluid, it's dipped below the threshold I don't want it to be at. She's like, so you need to go, to Cedars and we're going to induce you. And I was like, hold on a second. We can't do that. My mom's flying in from a foreign country. Her phone doesn't work in this country. She doesn't know how to get from anywhere to anywhere. I'm like, this is like really bad. Can we do it tomorrow? And my doctor's like, no, we can't do it tomorrow. You have to do it. Like, I'm telling you, she's like, you can go home and get your hospital bag, but that's it. So I was like, fuck. Why? It's like the worst.
And how many weeks were you?
I was just 39. Just hit the 39 mark. So anyway, I was like, oh, okay. So I called my best friend Kim, who was also like heavily pregnant at the time.
You're talking about Kim, who owns Upflying Yoga in LA.
Yeah.
She's been on before too. She was like one of my first guests.
Yeah. So she was pregnant and was actually doing like this doula certification as well at the time. So anyway, I was like, what are you doing? I need you to come to the hospital with me. And basically Kim came to Cedars and my husband went to LAX to pick my mom up. And we have 3 dogs that we were trying to like figure out what to do with. So basically my husband went to LAX, picked my mom up, took her back to our house. She stayed at my house to kind of deal with the dogs. He came back to Cedars and barely got there in time for the birth. Wow.
Yeah. So wait. Okay, I know traffic takes a long time, so you could be talking about an 8-hour trip for your husband, but like how?
No, the hardship of the pregnancy, my birth was pretty quick. It wasn't painless because they induced me and it was like weird. They gave me this like Foley balloon first and then they also did the Pitocin as well.
So they were like double serious about this inducing.
Yeah, they doubled down on the induction. But it was kind of crazy because for me anyway, like I had not experienced a contraction. I had no Braxton Hicks. I had like nothing. So, I went from like not knowing what any of that felt like to Pitocin contractions, which I mean, I have nothing to compare it to because I haven't been pregnant before. This was my first pregnancy birth, but it is like 0 to 100. Like,
okay, question mark.
Yeah.
Question, because I had Pitocin and my epidural was really uneven. So did it feel to you like your butthole was going to explode?
I don't know if it felt,
or was that just me?
I don't know if it felt like my butthole was, no, it was like more in my like lower abdomen. Just.
Okay. I just wanted to check because that's what I felt.
Kizzy agrees. It's my dog. I don't recall that. I do recall like during like the birthing process, like you just feel like you need to take a dump constantly, and that's totally normal, I guess. But no, they were like giving me this Pitocin, and it was like there was just no rest. Like you would the contractions, instead of like you having a contraction, riding that wave and then having a period of like no contraction and then gradually the next one comes. I don't know what your experience with the Pitocin was, but mine was contraction, and I was starting the next contraction before the one before it was finished.
Yeah, that sounds like Rachel. Rachel had him every 1 minute. Yeah. So wait, did you have an epidural?
I did eventually. So I told them,
Okay.
yeah. So when it got like I couldn't handle it anymore, I said that I wanted to get the epidural, but it took a while for them to come. Fortunately, that's when my husband turned up, like as I was waiting for the epidural. But Cedars is also a teaching hospital, so I'm like there.
Oh my God. So you have like students.
Yes, and they're conducting this whole like lecture on the epidural. I was like,
sorry.
And they, and they say to you, okay, so like, we're going to try and do it in between contractions. You can't move. And I'm like, there is no in between. Just fucking do it, please. Like, and then they're like, well, we just got to show like da 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 and this and that.
Oh my God, that's so
right. I did not sign up for this. Just give me the injection now, because I can't guarantee that I'm not going to be like bucking like a mule. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, eventually they did it, and it was like instant, relief. So that was fine, and then my OB turned up, and I think we did like 3 or 4 cycles of the pushing thing, and then she was out.
So you dilated to 10 and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. But it was so that part was, I don't know. It's such a surreal experience.
I mean, I feel like if you would have had a really, really tough time giving birth, that would have been like, are you kidding me? Like, can't something
I
be
know, right?
a little bit easier? I mean, not that birth is easy no matter what, but
yeah.
Wow.
I have like a lot of my friends like had super easy pregnancies, like vanilla. Do you know what I mean? And then the most awful birthing stories.
Yeah. No, I've heard. I've heard it all. Seems like being this podcaster.
Yeah.
But okay, so your issues kind of don't end though.
No.
So Elle is a beautiful little girl.
Yeah. And
things are well. But so when postpartum did you start to have your SI joint problems?
So everything was fine. I mean, I was fortunate. She was a tiny little thing. She was barely 6 pounds when she was born. So I had minimal like tearing or anything like that. And I was body aware enough to get myself a pelvic floor PT to just check me out for any diastasis or anything like, internal.
Afterwards. You're talking about after.
Yeah. So, I worked with, this is the infuriating thing about it. I feel like I did everything right postpartum, except for one thing, which was my downfall. And that was thinking that I could go back to training sooner than I shit off.
And so when was that though?
It wasn't even, I got the all clear from my doctor to do, to go back to, exercising. The mandate was I wouldn't do anything that you weren't doing. I wouldn't start a new sport. Do you know what I mean? And of course, like in my mind, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll take like a low hammock, like super easy, like chill kind of class. And I remember like I had a little spin on this low hammock, and then I went to invert, and I just felt something in the back of my, like just to the left of my sacrum, kind of pop. And I was like, oh, that was not good. but it wasn't like, I got off, it wasn't like I got down and then was hobbling out of the place. It was just like instantly that kind of like angry tightening.
Mm-hmm.
So
in the aftermath, now that it's been a while, do you know what happened? Like, is there a diagnosis to what happened?
No, I've had an MRI, and it just kind of says that like I have, I have some stuff with the SI, what is it, L5SI? Is that right? I wish I should have brought the papers in here with me to look at. But very common, like lower back, like kind of some bulging there and some desiccation to the disc. So it's like, but that's like fairly normal in someone who is in their 40s who's been very active. Do you know what I mean? Like, so they couldn't really like put it down to like, oh yeah, you've like totally torn this, or this is the issue. It just, but now I just have this chronic like inflammation in that area. And I've tried so many things, I've tried, obviously like strengthening my glutes and my lower abs, to try and like, because I think that was the problem in the first place, is my pelvic area and the surrounding muscles were still so loosey-goosey from pregnancy. I was also breastfeeding at the time. So everything was just relaxed. And so I had to kind of, first of all, work really hard on trying to just get everything to support the area. And
Katie, you wouldn't say you're hypermobile, would you?
no, I don't think so. But maybe weirdly, I don't know. No, I mean, the only place I'm hypermobile is in my like thumbs and my wrists that I know of. But yeah, I had like body work done. I went to see chiropractors. I had the MRI, and it's like the results come back from the MRI and they were like, well, you can get these like injections and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Like I want to be able to like manage this in a different way. And, that's kind of been like my life's work now, is like trying to manage this injury through movement. And I definitely notice it's so much better than it was, but I definitely notice a correlation between like movement, eating right, trying to stay away from anything that's too inflammatory. And then also like time of the month, like the week before my period, without fail, it flares up and I'm in pain for like 3 days and have to take Advil. But the rest of the time I can kind of manage it. So I don't have to take any, over the counter pain meds or anything.
Okay. So do you basically have a bulging disc at the base of your sacrum, or at the very base of your lumbar spine connecting to the sacrum?
Yeah, it's like SI joint, SI, and then that first like lower back vertebrae. It's like it's those two discs. But it's interesting because like whenever I tell anyone that I have that, they're like, "Oh, you must have like sciatica," but I don't. I don't have any like any of that, like any pain, of the like really debilitating pain that runs down your leg. It just feels like there was a time where it's like I could barely get out of bed. Like it was so tight and stiff in the morning. I would have to like roll myself and like get my husband to kind of help me. And then as I started to move, it would like things would loosen up. Fortunately, I'm not in that place anymore. But yeah, it's like, it's a mystery, and I'm still like trying to, I'm still trying to find I'm sure at some point I'll find a doctor who will be able to give me like some better answers, but I just haven't found that person yet. So
Okay. Oh my goodness. It's just such a mystery.
yeah,
That's the problem.
it's such a mystery problem. And it's like, I'm at the point now where it's not really like stopping me from doing anything. I just have to be really careful. It's like, obviously then you kind of like, as far as my aerial practice, it's a shame because I feel like I was just starting to get back into a regular practice and learning how to manage it with my injury, and then COVID hit, right? So then it's like, you gain a little bit of momentum and you start to kind of feel like a little bit like your old self. And then, this thing happens that's like out of everybody's control. And again, like, it's kind of, everything is at a standstill. And I do have a rig at home, but honestly, like, it's limited with what I can do with a baby at home. And also, like, training injured, I'm not going to push it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so,
right.
So anyway, long story short, we ended up getting a Peloton over the pandemic. And that's actually been a little bit of a lifeline, because just getting on a bike every morning for like 20 minutes and getting blood flow into that area from the repetitive movement of cycling it's night and day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really is. If the days I don't warm my hip up are the days that I'm going to be in pain in the evening. By the evening.
Oh, okay. And Katie's back in class on Monday nights with me, so I get to see you,
which is great. And, again, I feel like I'm starting at the beginning. It's such an ego. You have to just drop all ego.
No, it's really
in these
hard.
Situations.
That part is really hard.
Yeah, because it's like, your mind knows what you could do. It's just your body won't do what your mind is telling it to do. It's like the weirdest thing,
Well, luckily, not luckily, the two other women that she has always taken class with, who are also coming back to the practice. So I feel like the three of you guys can kind of just be there for each other.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, there's no judgment. And I also don't feel the same, like before, when I was training, before I had Elle, there was always like something on the horizon. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I was always like looking to maybe book something, or even if it was like we were working towards like a little presentation for class or whatever it was. Do you know what I mean? There was always like this like drive to like choreograph something or do something or la 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 la, and I've had to take a step back from that. And now the focus is like, how can I train in a way that's smart for my body? And there's things that I probably will never do again. Do you know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. Like, I just can't, I think you get to a point where you're just like, I can't risk it. I can't risk the big drops,
Yeah. Okay. So this little bean, she's so on time. Like, she never lets me get more than 56, 57, 58 minutes.
She's been amazing. I'm surprised she's been so quiet for so long.
I mean, she's had my phone watching her PBS Kids, but
yeah.
Do you want to say hi to Katie?
Hi. Hi, Willa.
Say hi to Katie.
I want to go outside.
You want to go outside? You don't want to be on the podcast anymore?
Hi.
No. Are you tired of this?
She's like, Mommy,
what are you doing?
Pay attention to me.
Yes, I'm sorry, my love.
How old is she now, Carrie?
She looks like I'm torturing her.
Hi.
2 years and 4 months.
Aww.
Yeah, and you get to see her on Monday.
I do get to see her on Monday. I'm so glad you guys get to see her. This
little bean is the best. All right, Katie, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
And you reminded me of it.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to get Katie on here. She's got an incredible story, and then I forgot half of it.
Well, I wouldn't ramble too much.
No, it was great. Okay, so I'll see you in class, and yeah.
Yeah.
Can you say thank you, Katie?
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Katie, for being here. If you guys go to the show notes, check out the hey, don't bang on the microphone, please. The free mini course by Wrap Your Head Around Silk. Super easy to register to the online portal. Oh no, we're getting to the end of our rope here. And you can always find me at Carrie We1 on Instagram and at Carrie_we on Twitter. Please honor me with a 5-star rating and review anywhere you got your podcasts. And thanks for tuning in. Love you guys. Appreciate you. And I'll see you next time. This is the Expecting Airless podcast.